teams. Let's talk about Victoria's Secret first off. They're currently sitting 1-2, and we saw their performance against Fun Gaming. We were both impressed, very impressed with how they were able to dig out these campers. But if that's the only impressive thing we're going to see from Victoria's Secret, they are in trouble. They're going to have to continue to impress us with the rest of the matches they have tonight, and tonight is going to be their hardest match of the entire division. However, if they play against a SIMP team, a team that we saw from Season 1 or Season 2, they have the mechanics, they have the skills to dig out the camping nature of SIMP. But SIMP is not as campy as they were. They play more passive or defensive, but they've used more aggression, they've used more tactics to better themselves overall as a team, to be a more well-rounded team, and that's what makes them a championship team from Season 3.
Yeah, they're just Simps being a little bit more, I think, comfortable with trying to push now. They're just, I think they feel that superiority, and MacG is just getting more comfortable with making aggression and pushes occasionally.
This is an underdog match for Victoria's Secret, but with any match in World of Tanks, expect the unexpected, and both of these teams are going to be prepared for today. And with that, I welcome the two team leaders on our face-off. Gentlemen, good afternoon. Happy Independence Day.
Good afternoon.
Hello. First question. SIMP, you faced Simple Tankers last time, and they keep getting closer and closer to getting a win against you, but they still haven't been able to. Do those kind of matches keep you on your toes?
Definitely. I think every Simple Tankers match we've had throughout the 4 seasons has been a nail biter. A lot closer than I would like, but we're happy to at least come away with the win.
Do you expect the same from Victoria's Secret?
I know they have the capacity, the abilities to beat anyone in the Gold League, so I expect it to be a tough fight, and we're as prepared for them as we would be for any other team.
Disruption, let's talk to you for a sec. How do you balance being a player and a commander in the field? Because you like to rock the tier 8s.
It's tough. From playing up, basically, if you're 100% calling all the time, you take your efficiency, your gameplay away from actually playing and commanding and micromanaging your team. It does affect it. So hopefully tonight we kind of resolved a couple issues with that, and we're going to have different teams, so to speak, internally, so we can have different flank callers, so to speak. It is tough, but hopefully we work past it, and I'm going to be in a tier 8 tonight, so we'll see.
Okay. Would you like to comment at all on the morality of the team moving into Week 4?
Morale's pretty good. I was just talking with the guys here in the past hour or so, and nobody's really stressed out because all the stress is on SIMP. Because if they don't win, they lose first place in our bracket. So all the stress right now is on Mac and his crew, and not so much us. So we are the underdogs, but hopefully we'll take it to them and we'll pull out a victory tonight.
Disruption, any words for SIMP before we start?
Good luck, have fun. Other than that, I'll see you on the field.
MacG?
Likewise, good luck, have fun. Look forward to it.
All right, gentlemen, best of luck to you. We'll see you on the battlefield.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, there you have it. The reason I asked that question about morality is that Victoria's Secret's team leader, Disruption, was talking to me a little bit, saying that some of the guys weren't as into playing as they were at the beginning, and that can happen when you have that fire of starting a series, starting a tournament at the beginning, and you have a couple losses, like, man, can we really do this? But that's when you really go through that refiner's fire to become a better team. And let's take a look at the rosters between these two teams, Rookkill, and take a look at some of the performances of a couple key individuals here.
Yeah, definitely everyone on SIMP is carrying their weight. But one confusing thing is I haven't seen Fedge or Laps from SIMP play a single competitive battle. They've been in practices, I know, but they're not actually starting. And I know Fedge is very competent. Laps used to be on River of Blood. But we were promised, of course, that Laps wouldn't be playing very much at the beginning of the season. Victoria's Secret. So many competent players. We've got Conflict, Destruction, and Pro. But the thing is, Serenity and Tyler Durden are absolutely destructive. The two of them are racking up very high average damage for the league, placing them somewhere within the top 10, I believe, in just players in the WGLNA.
I'll have to look out for Serenity in this matchup and how he's going to perform. Also, the positioning of a Floppy Giraffe in some of the T1 battles, see if he's able to win those out as well. With that being said, Rookkill, what are your rules for victory for these teams?
All right, well, the first rule is you ain't seen nothing yet. because Victoria's Secret has faced Fun Gaming, but they don't know about SIMP. SIMP knows how to play defensively better than Fun Gaming ever could. They can defend the kinds of attacks that Fun Gaming was not able to respond to. And while Victoria's Secret was able to tear apart Fun Gaming, I'm not sure the same strategy and tactics will work. SIMP has the reactions. They know exactly what they were doing. So watch out for that. Rule number 2, simple lessons. We had Simple Tankers versus SIMP last week. If Victoria's Secret has studied Simple Tankers and their execution, looked at their mistakes and what they did right. If they can emulate some of that today, they may have a chance of taking a few battles or maybe the win off of SIMP. And then finally, he aims to misbehave. Serenity is absolutely dominating. I said this just a moment ago. I'll say it again. Top damage on his team. Some of the top other stats from cap points to cap defense. He's highly mobile and he gets good assisted damage. Also the most kills on his team. Absolutely great from Serenity.
Again, looking forward to see how he's going to perform in this series, though, because they're up against the championship team from Season 3, a team that took second place in Season 1 and Season 2. This is going to be no cakewalk for Victoria's Secret. And with that, we jump into battle number 1 for the first match of our Super Freedom Marathon, SIMP versus Victoria's Secret on Himmelsdorf. Rookhill, what do we have for tanks?
For tanks, 3 AMX 5100s and 2 IS-3s for SIMP. And don't forget the 2 T1s. For the side of Victoria's Secret, they will be bringing 2 5100s and 3 IS-3s. Also, bringing the 2 T1s.
Not a mirror matchup, but the difference of the 5100s being the burst damage compared to the IS-3s of the Alpha Strike, and their presence with that armor, spaced armor to the side, the Shuka to the front, the hemispherical turret that is conducive to bounces.
And 5100s, though. They've got 3 of them on SIMP, and all 3 are heading to the hill. They're going for that hill dominance that we know SIMP is characteristic of. On the other side, I don't think Victoria's Secret has sent anyone at all up to the hill. I almost thought that was an error. For a second, I was like, wait, what? No one to the hill?
No one to the hill from Victoria's Secret. Placement of Victoria's Secret all the way on the western side, except for 3 tanks down the G line. POW, Some Dude, and Conflict.
That is very interesting lineup. If they aggress quickly enough, they're going to be able to do some real work as a Droxus and Heavy 20. Battle buddies for life, those 2 IS-3s can wreck people, are going to be sitting on the D line. Nice defensive position. The coverage from up above, Abrasive Blue Boys and Crimson, is actually very dangerous. If there were a push right down the D line, those tanks would be walking into just a killing field. Just observe the way that works. Blue Boys up above, you've got Abrasive Crimson, and you've got a perfect shot straight down into your opponent, into those IS-3s, those 5100s who don't stand a chance because they cannot fire back as effectively, maybe not even spot back to that distance. However, now we can see Floppy Giraffe, and it looks like Disruption too in the 5100 are moving up the 1 line. Maybe we'll see Victoria's Secret able to dominate that side of the map and force Heavy 20 and a Droxus out of position. Not sure, though.
This is where a T1 could have been very useful on the hill to scout one of the heavies, 2 of the heavies. If you're able to get that type of information, then Victoria's Secret would feel inclined to overmatch on the west.
The push.
But the push is happening. Conflict and M-Pro going to be leading that push in the IS-3s. Heavy 20 was spotted by the T1. Floppy Giraffe, who's now gone all the way to the north, next to the train station.
Oh.
M-Pro's going to turn the corner. Looks like he missed that shot against
He
Heavy
was
20.
tracked as he fired, throwing the shot straight off, and Heavy 20 was just on it. Such a quick reaction speed. Just showing exactly why he is one of the best players in the WGLNA.
SIMP's movement from the hill. They're positioning their tanks to the ridge to get long shots from up above, but if Victoria's Secret continues to hug the cover on this side, they will not be seen unless they execute, unless they push up against the Delta force, against the 2 tanks on the Delta line.
Yeah, and now Maudible's going to come in to counter the T1 Some Dude as the push is beginning towards the D line. T1 Some Dude goes down to Heavy 20, actually, through the window. And now you're going to see Heavy 20, Adroxus, both pinned, but in a very dangerous position. You can see M-Pro trying to fire back at the hill. Unfortunately, he's going to have to recognize that's not going to work for him. That's not going to be a possible solution to this. They have to start pushing the cap, or they have to do something else. Right now, Simp T1's heading to counter cap aggression.
Blue Boys took a hit up on the hill, but that was the only strike that's happened against Simp that's done any damage.
Any more damage being put out by anyone is probably going to be punished heavier. Any cost paid in order to get damage from Victoria's Secret has been paid back with interest.
Conflict's going to stick to this corner. His Tier 8 companions, 2 to the north, 2 to the south.
Blue Boys is able to put a shot into Palmia, who was hit once earlier by Blue Boys, and then again as he is spotted crossing in the open. Blue Boys has put optics on his 5100, giving it some serious view range against the loud, big, huge, unstealthy IS-3.
Best tank in space.
Yep. Unfortunately, not really that sneaky.
Yeah, its presence, again, as I mentioned, can be very intimidating to tankers in World of Tanks, but it's also easy to spot from these 5100 positions up top on the hill. Good sniping tanks in context against the IS-3 BL9 gun. Not the best gun for accuracy.
Yeah. Still a very confident gun. I was actually reading up on potential patch notes for some French tanks in the future, which could result in some interesting improvements to their performance.
Would you say it specifically with their
it has to do with the
aiming?
Accuracy.
Accuracy at longer
accuracy
range?
And aiming. We also might be seeing some higher tier American revalences.
And what I mean by aiming is actually the time it takes for the reticle to get smaller compared to accuracy is when it's already at its smallest position, how accurate it is once it fires.
But that will have a huge effect because of the timings that you have in World of Tanks. Players exposing themselves for not long enough for a gun to settle, and so then you get that. But this is all this is like very early announcement kind of stuff, little things here and there people are whispering about on the internet.
Rumors, talks.
Yeah. I'd be interested to see if 5100s were buffed, what would happen, because that is... Well, it's already a very dangerous tank.
Reminds me of Refuse to Die, how if they play the longer range game, they are more effective at it compared to brawling. And so perhaps that type of change could give more power to that type of strategy compared to the brawlers.
Yeah. We'll have to see. That's all almost a year out.
Yeah, that's hearsay, it's rumors, but it's intriguing to look at the evolution of World of Tanks from the hard stats gameplay and how players adapt. We saw that evolution change from T69 heat usage to Pershings being used to the Object 416 being introduced as a tank and then used in World of Tanks, esports teams in different scenarios. And it's a great tank. The Object 416 is a fun tank to play once you remember that you can't turn the turret all the way around, especially when someone's behind you.
Yeah. Well, you can get around it usually with smart play. Object 416 is just a good tank.
Looking at the current position of Victoria's Secret, they're hugging the south. They're hugging the southwest here defensively against their flag cap. This is a smart move to make for 2 reasons. One, it forces Simp to get down from the hill where they had a really strong spot if they're going to go for the win. 2, it gets them into a defensive position because of their lower HP, and hopefully they can even that out with a couple quick shots around the corners as Simp is going to move, and they're moving quick together along the west. And one of those shots came from Palmia, 81 to the side of Heavy 20.
A little bit of revenge right there. You hit me earlier to take this back. And now you're going to see Victoria's Secret maybe able to flex around this. They've actually found the T1s. MacG is spotted, Moddable is spotted. They do not have anyone to keep them safe. Empro is going to get some free T1 pickups possibly. Oh wait, maybe not. The Crimson Corsair has come off the hill, and he's going to back up those T1s. This is actually a trap of sorts, and they're going to kill Empro for almost free. He just fired, and he may not have enough time to get a third shot at. He's almost loaded. He gets tracked. He is able to get one shell out. A little bit of payback, but not enough, and that is a T8 dead with no T8s dead in return. The engagement has begun elsewhere.
Disruption takes a hit for 376, but Conflict returns fire against Adroxus. 2 minutes remain now in the battle. Time has moved quickly, and Simp wants to get the win. They don't want this to be a draw. They are able to land one shot again against Conflict. Palmia is low at 271. Serenity 17, pushing forward. He has a couple shots left. He wants Abrasive, and he's able to get it, but he falls. Adroxus tanks down Serenity, and Disruption goes down against Blue Boy's captain. Adroxus in Conflict now in a one-on-one scenario, but Heavy 20 is going to push up to the side with a nice shot on the side, tracking Conflict, allowing Adroxus to get a shot into the rear, waiting again for another hit. Heavy 20 is going to be reloaded and will fire again when ready. Adroxus and Heavy 20 overmatch Victoria's Secret's last remaining tank, and they take a battle victory on Himmelsdorf.
Nice play from Simp. There were so many little things that were so well played by Simp. Let 5100 on the hill, right? They sent T1s into the backfield when they recognized the opening to create a counter cap situation in the event that you saw cap pressure from Victoria's Secret. Simp was getting ready to defend from that, and they were a minute or two ahead. Their reaction was way before Victoria's Secret even had the potential to do that. Victoria's Secret, of course, recognized that because Simp was a competent team. They would react because they'd spotted everything. So they actually went back into a defensive position, finding MacG and Maudable in the T1s, but there was Crimson Corsair in the 5100 already preparing to defend those T1s and create a flanking situation of his own. So many little things went together that ended up flowing into a completely different tactical situation, which gave Simp their edge. You had a 5100 and two 5100s actually flanking. One of them, Crimson, of course, who'd used a few shells on the IS-3, but then you had Blue Boys who was able to come around as well from the south towards the cap and again create a cool flank. Everything went right for Simp, and that Victoria's Secret, I mean, they didn't do anything particularly wrong. It's just so much was done perfectly by Simp.
They were ready for every possible scenario to happen. They were ready for that counter cap. They were ready for a possible flank coming in on the other side, which at first I thought, okay, why are they keeping one of their heavier tanks on the hill? Well, it was that contingency plan. It was that keeping that one tier 8 away from the initial firefight so they could set up a flank, so they could have more map knowledge, more eyes on different parts of the map that allowed them to plan and execute in different ways in very, very small timings. And that is where you have a team that has worked together for so long. They know what their individual jobs are at almost any given moment. And if they need any type of commanding, it's at a informational timing of when.
Yeah, the best teams don't need to necessarily make a call from a commander. It's more of the commander makes the strategy call, everyone executes on that, and all they need to do is communicate and share the information. And they should all know exactly the answer that should happen, or they should be able to tell each other what they need, and then someone is able to provide an answer to a question.
Yeah, and if you can do it in the space of a matter of seconds, if that, while you're fighting an opponent, that is what makes champions out of these teams. We're going to move on to battle number 2. It will take place on Abbey between Simp and Victoria's Secret. Real kill, what do we have for tanks?
5100, IS-3, and 2 T-69s, along with a 1390 for Simp. Victoria's Secret has 2 5100s, a T-69, and 2 1390s. You've got quite some heavy armor on Simp's side. Obviously, they're going to go west, right? Victoria's Secret has mobility. I'd give them probably a chance to go Abbey towards the middle, and the east side. Playing the west right off the bat would probably not be the best idea, and it wouldn't actually provide them all that much of an advantage.
Floppy Giraffe shoots the back of Disruption for 13 damage.
Runs into the back.
Oh, that was M-Pro that ran into the back of him. Thought Floppy Giraffe had fired his gun.
Floppy Giraffe can't hurt a 5100. Only a 5100 can hurt Floppy Giraffe.
And we've seen T1s hurt these tanks.
Well, not that much. I think him running into him wouldn't do all that much. It would probably hurt him more.
We've seen T1s destroy 5100s.
Oh, yeah, with a gun.
Yes. No, it's like tinfoil hitting a Cadillac. It's not going to do much. The spread of Victoria's Secret is to the center of the map, while, as you said, Rukil, Simp will be to the west. This will be a long engagement due to the nature of this map.
And the nature of Simp's play.
Yeah, I'll have to possibly check with the admin to verify who chose this, if this was Simp's choosing or Victoria's Secret's choosing. Now, there are a number of scenarios why you make this the second map. One, you're up against a team that is a Goliath and you're the David, and they're going to take map 1. This causes the momentum to stop if you play for the draw. This also causes them to want to rush to get a second win that could put themselves into a precarious scenario. For example, pushing up against the flag to the north and then unleashing hell upon them as they turn the corner.
But if you remember Simple Tankers versus Simp, wasn't Simple Tankers able to make a successful cap fast against Simp on Abby?
Yes, they were, because they used the power of the 5100's profile and put 2 T1s behind it where they were set up. They attacked from the north to the south, put the tank up there, T1 stayed behind it, they lived, and they got the flag cap.
Which is precisely what Victoria's Secret must be going for with this pick. As they picked Abby, they're going to probably play it slow and see if they can actually get any early damage out, get some kind of advantage anywhere, and then following that, execute in an identical way to Simple Tankers. Now, they do have a T69 Serenity. I don't remember if Simple Tankers had a T69, but if they did, I think they utilized it differently. We're probably going to see that T69 up in the Abbey, able to just quickly burst out a tank, and then following that, be able to reload and actually, for the second part of the engagement where Simp has to move out across their cap to try and get the T1s from behind the 5100.
It's a good point. If they looked at the tape, if they watched the Simple Tankers versus Simp engagement and said, hey, this is one of the maps they won on, look at the strategy they used, let's make it our own. Let's make it a Victoria's Secret style of strategy. And if it works once, it can work twice against Simp.
Exactly. That was my rule number 2. I knew if they could study what Simple Tankers did and bring a lot of those same elements to the battle, then we could see a victory on a few maps. Maybe I would feel, a little bit worried if they emulated exactly what Simple Tankers did, because obviously it didn't win in the very end, but it did take them all the way to the brink, because there's little mistakes in there.
Took them to a tiebreaker.
Exactly. If they study, they can certainly bring a good fight. And with Simp 1-0, they can actually play defensively, and Victoria's Secret has to make this attack. However, if you think about it, that could be playing into exactly what Victoria's Secret wants. They're going to be in blind firing for a while, with disruption, blind firing on the positions of Simp, and then they'll make that cap fast. So this could actually work out as far as the head game in Victoria's Secret's favor.
Were any of those shots from disruption close at all to any of Simp's positions?
I don't think so. The impacts didn't really see. I didn't even hear them being very close. So I think he was aiming for some of the wrong bushes. However, Blue Boys was in perfect cover. He knew there was blind fire. Crimson Corsair didn't actually shift at all. He didn't move. So he must have known that he wasn't going to be fired upon.
Disruption will wait for the reload. Will he fire again in a full volley of 6 shots to go for the blind fire, or will he wait for his companions to join him and go for a push into the Lion's Den, that is the south of Simp's flag cap? Getting close to the 5-minute mark. Taking a look at where the T1s are at in case they need to fall back and escape. Some dude is close to his 5100s. A floppy giraffe is way north, hiding in the bushes. Also being able to scout anything happening to the northwest of the map if there is a potential flurry of tanks that go across the water side and decide to push into the center. And then the T69 Serenity, 17 in the center of the map.
Dancing for you.
Dancing back and forth. Just, keeping his fingers loose and ready for when the call is made.
And pro spotted.
Both 5100s are to the south.
I'm not seeing any action. Adroxus shifting to look towards that 5100 position. Heavy 20 is going to start moving up. That could... Yes, they're more prepared. Simp is much more prepared this time for the attack, the cap fast, with Heavy 20 being so much closer instead of where he was previously. And he's actually going to blind fire off into one of the positions Simple Tankers utilized last time with their 1390s. So Simp knows the potential for a cap fast is a huge weakness for them. They can try to defend against it, but they were not set up for it last time. They were caught off guard, and now they're prepared. Blue Boys, Crimson are already overwatching the cap. They're going to eliminate a 5100 if it tries to come immediately. Between Crimson and between Blue Boys, that is plenty of damage to deal with a 5100 the moment it is spotted. On top of that, instead of Heavy 20 being to the north, they've put him to the south, where he is more able to just get straight to cap, and he's not going to get caught in any kind of a trap. I like this movement out of Simp. They've made a huge improvement to their southwest defensive position on Abbey. Nigh unassailable. I don't see a situation... Actually, wait. There is. There is a situation in which Victoria's Secret can win. That's having to do with attacking from the north and actually taking Heavy 20 out of the equation. So, recognize where Heavy 20 is. Where can he not get to at all quickly?
The north.
Yeah, directly north. It's a really simple answer.
Yeah.
He just can't get up this hill. There's no way he can climb it. He has to go all the way around. That's about a 30-second trip. So, with the 30-second trip, that's enough time for 5100s and 1390s and T69s to unload their clip. All they have to do is recognize his position and then deal with Mac G, deal with Abrasive. Now, that's where there's a problem in all this.
Not going to be the case, because Disruption now is going to push towards the flag cap. He's going to be hit to the front. A little bit of a serpentine move. Gets hit in the track again. Is able to dodge 2 more shots. Gets tracked a 3rd time. And he's almost down. Needs to be the wall for the other tanks coming in. Can he fire back? Some dude, 904, falls.
They're targeting the T1s. Now Heavy 20 is moving up.
They didn't move together.
They actually left Disruption alive. They only care about the T1s. They're deliberately countering a cap fast at this point.
Yes.
Now, actually, Floppy Draft isn't even close to the cap. He's nowhere near it. He's actually near Mac G.
Yeah, he was the one scouting towards the northwest side. And he is not spotted, nor is he spotting anyone in his position. The spotting is happening from M-Pro and Disruption to the south. This looks like a botched plan coming from Victoria's Secret.
A beautiful defense from SIMP. They knew what was coming. They predicted their opponent's ability to counter them. Victoria's Secret's style is that they will attempt to play their opponent. They study their opponent, they study the tapes, they study their tendencies, and they attempt to counter that. And they prepare for every single match individually, along with having their general plans. In this situation, they looked back, like I thought, and said, let's look at what Simple Tankers did. And they tried to execute on that. The problem is, SIMP has done their homework as well and recognized their own weaknesses in their previous defense and made changes to that. They put Mac in the north as a tripwire. There's a 30-second window probably, or more, from the time you kill Mac to the point where you were able to begin an engagement from the north. Meaning that if you have Heavy 20 in the south ready to react to the base, and you also have Abrasive in a defensive position, he can deal damage and just back off for free. I have to get 2 Abrasive areas. So this is just incredibly difficult defense. You have to find a tank, cut it off and kill it without paying too much cost. How you're going to do that, I don't know. Not on Abby. Too easily defended. The lanes of approach are very easy to observe, and the reactions from there are swift. SIMP doesn't mess up.
Earlier on, I was thinking this is either a loss for Victoria's Secret or a draw, because SIMP was not going to move from their position. They were not going to chase after Victoria's Secret. They were waiting for them to go to the flag cap, because that's the only hope they really had, try to get the win, unless they had enough RNG in their favor from a northern push. But that's it. It will go to a draw between SIMP and Victoria's Secret in battle number 2 on Abbey. Surprise? No, not really, at least for this type of map. What I will be surprised about is if Victoria's Secret can use this opportunity right now to swing it into their favor. How do they do that? They come up with a type of strategy we saw in Ensk in the past. They come up with a type of strategy that we saw against Fun Gaming in the past. But it's not those type of teams they're facing. They're facing an American champion. What do we have for the next map, Rukil?
It's going to be Prokhorovka. I'm not that confident in SIMP for, well, sorry, in Victoria's Secret for Prokhorovka. They have an amazing defense in the Southwest. If you remember Season 3 finals, was it? When Fnatic came up and over the hill? Nothing could be done. Absolutely nothing could be done to stop to stop SIMP. Completely annihilated Fnatic in that situation. They've done it also in a few other times between an Object 416, some T-32s or Pershings, T-69s, American tanks in general. It's just a very easily defended map, and they can continue to draw and draw and draw and draw until this is all over.
Take a look at the damage that was dealt for the top 2 damage dealers. Adroxus, over 1,000 damage. M-Pro, 306 damage. So if this is brought to another tiebreaker type scenario, SIMP is now in the running for the most damage dealt in the series. But that's only after 2 battles. One of them was a draw. Anything could change. But that's something that SIMP doesn't want to go through again. Not another tiebreaker. But
No, certainly
that
not.
may be a definite victory for Victoria's Secret if they could drag down SIMP from the top spot by having only 1 league point victory compared to 3. With that being said, we're going to move on to battle number 3 between SIMP and Victoria's Secret on Prohorovka. Rule kill, what do we have for tanks?
For tanks, a Pershing, 2 T-69s, and 2 1390s for the side of SIMP. Victoria's Secret, Pershing, 2 T-69s, 2 1390s.
Mirror matchup.
There you go.
Chat was waiting for that. I know chat wanted to do it with me. You guys are so much fun to interact with. We appreciate you guys coming out here on your Thursday on Independence Eve to enjoy some World of Tanks with us. Make sure to hit that follow button as well on that Twitch page. We're giving out some more goodies when we get some more followers on there as well. The more the merrier, and the more codes and tanks we'll give out. People love codes and tanks.
Exactly. And back to the game, we've got Blue Boys making an opening scout run right across the tracks, transitioning into the east side dominance from SIMP. West side goes to Victoria's Secret. They should recognize the strategy that SIMP is probably bringing now with the retreat path of Blue Boys as he went from west to east into safety. Always #1 rule of scouting when you return run, make sure it's safe. Make sure it's back to your side.
Always have an exit strategy.
Always.
Whenever you go into enemy territory.
If you don't have an exit strategy, everything's going to get all messed up.
It'll be a one-way trip. Abrasive gets hit twice. And that's 462 damage, closer to one-way trip for this tank on this battlefield here. Prohorovka, historically, the biggest tank battle in history.
A lot of T-34s.
Tyler Durden's going to push to the north, and he's going to take down Moddable. There goes eyes and ears for
Wow.
SIMP.
Nice play. This is actually a really strong play for Victoria's Secret. They've been able to get a little damage out. They took advantage of the, I'll call it greed from SIMP. Abrasive got a little greedy, we have to admit.
Yes.
Peeking
yes.
up and over the tracks like that. I mean, you're trying to get damage out, and you're trying to damage people. He got a hit onto Serenity, I think. But unfortunately, they were ready for that.
Well,
And
take a look at where Abrasive is compared to the rest of his teammates. Can Victoria's Secret use their, let's say, RNG advantage of accuracy in their favor to send an overmatch of tanks, 2 to 3 1390s, push against Abrasive, and then move back? Well,
No.
a T69 and the 2 1390s.
No, the reaction from SIMP would be Crimson Corsair, Heavy 20, also Adroxus and Blue
Yeah.
Boys don't have to shift very much in order to reply to that. And it's very easy to get spotted because of the hill. You get a proxy spot. So
Before you could even get up, and they're watching those two approaches, before they could even get up to get their reticle on Abrasive, they would be hit at least twice.
exactly. Now Tyler Durden is playing his angles very well. He understands how to take advantage of the terrain in order to try and get gun depression. Unfortunately, he just barely can't get that shot on Abrasive yet. And he's trying to get it. And he may well get it, but it may not be worth it, is the problem. Abrasive has 4 shells. If Tyler can find a way of engaging Abrasive without taking damage or being spotted by... Sorry, he will be spotted. Without taking damage from anyone else, you will have a situation that's pretty nice for him, but I don't think he's going to be able to find it. The angle held by Heavy 20 is such that it's not a good situation. Tyler does not want to begin an engagement on Abrasive at this point. And I'm actually going to check in on everyone else, as there's Cap, actually. Okay. Wait, Some Dude? And who's that behind Some Dude?
Some Dude and... Has to be, is it Floppy? Yeah, Floppy Giraffe.
Ah, T1 wall. Okay. So a cap fast. That's their strategy to beat SIMP. Try and cap super fast.
C'est La Vie did it with their tanks. They actually were capping to the south. That was SIMP's spawn point in that series, and they were able to take it.
So they need to screen the cap now. As Heavy 20
And
and
that's
Blue
what they're
Boys
doing in the
attempt to
center.
move around from the north, they're going to try and block them there. But SIMP is going to just run past and try and get the kills.
3 more seconds to get the flag cap here. Can
What?
SIMP get there in time?
No way.
No, they
got it.
can't. Base has been captured. Victoria's Secret gets the win against SIMP. Using the C'est La Vie tactic, except on the opposite side of the map.
Ah.
And the standstill, which we saw, again, you talk about momentum, which we saw
The battle's
on
actually still
Abbey.
raging
Yeah,
because tanks are dying there. It actually
now,
finally ends.
Now it stopped. Now
Yeah,
it stopped.
a resolution in damage, and we'll get to see how they perform following that. But sorry, I continue.
No, that was fine. I wanted to make sure that they were all out of the game before we wanted to keep going further. The momentum shift. I talk about this many times. We talk about this many times. It is a thing. It is an occurrence. It is an energy. It is a vibe. Say what you will about it. When you're winning, you're winning. But when something goes wrong, you start overthinking, you start overanalyzing, and you start breaking down if you're not experienced enough as an individual player or a team. That's what happens in sports. So when you look at a draw that happens on Abbey, they think, hey, we held back, we didn't engage, maybe we should have engaged. Maybe we shouldn't be Game 3 Pro Rovka with only one win. Maybe we should have done this. Maybe we should have done that. And they overthink that. Am I saying that's what Simp's doing? No. But this is what can happen with teams. What I am saying is that after the draw, this is the strategy of Victoria's Secret. We're going to draw out on Abbey if we can't win it, and then we're going to get aggressive on Prohorovka. And they did, and it worked. Now it's a tied game, 1-1, as we move on to battle number 4.
Big surprise, actually, just how Victoria's Secret was able to so effectively do that cap fast. That's understanding your opponent. I think the weak point for Simp might be if you can execute a cap fast. Simp loves that east side of Prohorovka. We just saw that. They love to play that. They also, if I think about it, if they get the north on Ruinberg, which is the next map, they'll probably play the east then. I wonder if Victoria's Secret has any kind of tricks up their sleeve. Do you know what side everyone is going to be spawning on?
Victoria's Secret will spawn to the south on Ruinberg. Now, I mentioned Ensk, but to me, Ensk and Ruinberg are the two maps, but Ruinberg has been the best type of execution play strategy-wise from Victoria's Secret that I've seen from any team on this map to date. What am I talking about? Spawning to the south, moving to the north down the one line, fake firing. They're blind firing, but they're faking their fire, and they move back all the way to the other side. But it depends what tanks they have. So Rookkill, battle number 4, what do we have for tanks?
For tanks, 5100 IS-3, 2 T-69s, and a 1390 for Simp, showing the willingness for mobility. Victoria's Secret has two 5100s, 2 IS-3s, and a 1390, a much heavier lineup, which in a way counters the T-69s. I'm curious to see how that's going to work out. But opening runs, we'll see what they can see. Blue Boys taking a mid-run, Conflict in his 1390 taking... What's Conflict doing? A less aggressive run, it looks like?
I'm looking at Conflict, and he is staying south down the K line, Kilo line, and now he's coming up the 0 line, sticking with these bushes.
That might be a bit
This bush approach we saw from Refuse to Die as they came from the south, moving through the bushes to stay undetected. At least the camouflage value is increased for the 1390, and hasn't seen anything yet, but Simp is fully committed to the Delta Village.
Yeah, just a very good spread, looking right down the 0 line. Blue Boys watching the southwestern positions. You've got also Blue Boys able to watch the F road. Everything is set up for Simp. Their only real weak point, which they have time to react to, by the way, is perhaps their own cap, which is covered by MacG. Now they're going to, I guess, begin aggressing up. Yep, Maudable. Moving on up. Everybody else covering his approach. And Conflict, if he gets spotted or spots that, he might just need to bug out. Blue Boy, Maudable also not spotted quite yet. Not yet, very soon. Run Conflict. Okay. Yeah, after spotting Maudable, he recognizes it's time to leave. I don't want to die. This is a normal strategy for a T1. You sack the T1, trade it out for T8, and it's completely worth it. Maudable would have paid for himself tenfold. But now, smart move by Conflict. I really appreciate him being able to hold fire and have the, the discipline to not get the kill on the T1.
That's a good way to put it. Tyler Durden, Holden, around the corner here. One tank is spotted. That is Tyler.
And Impro then gets spotted just at the end of that. Blue Boy's making that little run. I guess he was not lit. And he's going to try and go back again to relight those IS-3s. I'm going to see if we get any damage coming in. Doesn't actually look like anybody from Simp is actually prepared to fire down the F road. And Abrasive, in the meantime, has actually returned to cap, getting ready to defend against the fast cap, which I think Simp smells what's up. With 7 minutes left, still time for Victoria's Secret to try that, but with those IS-3s in Foxtrot 3 and 4, I don't see a fast cap situation. It just doesn't seem possible.
Well, SIMP must have watched the tape that Victoria's Secret is able to do against Fun Gaming, because I don't think they're going to fall for the same thing here.
Well, now there is a big movement out of SIMP. Heavy 20, Adroxus, Crimson Corsair are all moving to the southwest. They're going to be in
And look how they're moving, too. They're not using the road down the 0 line. They feel completely safe moving across the open fields to get to cover down the 6-7 line.
Precisely. After the movements that we've seen, they recognize the likely approaches from their opponent, and that if they pushed, there would be enemy tanks out of position. They would have an even or overmatch anyway. So why not go for it? And now we've got Conflict spotted by Maudible. Maudible attempts to pull out, but that's not going to happen, and Conflict is going to pick up the first T1 kill. The response, Adroxus wants to move south. Heavy 20 is moving south. Crimson Corsair moving south. They want to cut off Conflict and find him out in the open. They may be able to do that as he crosses his own cap.
One tank.
Yes, he's lit.
1 tank, 2 tanks are spotted. From Conflict, he gets hit to the side. He cannot get tracked here. He takes 2 hits to the hole for 518 damage. Another one, he is tracked. Oh, but the truck is able to save him.
Crimson might be able to get the kill.
220.
Adroxus.
Adroxus gets it. Conflict cannot escape. Now, Victoria's Secret, did they move enough during Conflict's engagement, or flee, I should say, in order to get into a better position against SIMP? I don't know if that's the case.
This was just what we were talking about earlier, that trade, the T1.
Yeah.
Because Conflict had to take the kill, he was unable to stay safe. He was out and exposed. And now we've got a situation where SIMP can just begin to press their advantage. Do you see a situation in which Victoria's Secret is able to really defend this?
If they somehow can ammo rack Adroxus, yes.
Are you in the belief business for that one?
I'm in the belief business. I am in the belief business.
Fair enough.
This comes down to the approach. It really does. If Victoria's Secret could somehow land a pronged attack in the center and be able to have the northern tanks, because the northern tanks are going to be so focused right now on that flag cap.
Speaking of northern tanks, Floppy Giraffe is spotted in his T1, fires some random shells, and is backing off. Blue Boys and Abrasive were sitting right there and waiting.
But that's the thing. Blue Boys and Abrasive are sitting there waiting. And if Victoria's Secret could spot that at all and know those 2 tanks are in the northern village, they don't have the other... Well, they have both T1s that can do some scouting runs, some sacrificial scouting perhaps. Maybe an overmatch on the F Crossroads could be a possibility. But that main attack force has to come from the south, because of the terrain, it has slightly better cover compared to going straight down the E road from west to east. SIMP now moving from the northern section. They're heading to the 1 line, it looks like.
Yep. Looks like they're going to begin doing a bit of a split, actually, knowing they have the overmatch. Take that, and you begin attacking on both flanks. You've got enough tanks on one side that you make it almost an even match, or you can fight off the enemy tanks for long enough, and then from the other side you bring the flank. They've got 1 T8 extra. Now their opponent, Victoria's Secret, does have a beefier tanks, 2 5100, 2 IS-3s, but the number of tanks that SIMP's going to be bringing, those 269s and 1390, should be able to match that a little bit. Also, if the T69s can engage on a 5100, that is an ideal situation. They just don't want to have to engage on an IS-3. The spaced armor always comes into effect with the low penetration of a T69.
Yep. Here's the engagement. Floppy Giraffe's going to try to stay safe next to the fountain as the rest of SIMP will push up against M-Pro. And his team, Tyler Durden, takes a shot for 228. Big hit from M-Pro against Heavy 20. Another one from Tyler Durden.
Interesting move, actually very well played. They're able to put some damage onto Heavy 20, and they might be able to use that later in this fight, especially since it was IS-3s that got the shots, and 5100s did not have to leave themselves with less than ideal number of shells.
Serenity and M-Pro and Tyler and Disruption are now moving together as one force. This is what they have to do. and in terms of the best decision to make is to stay together as a team, but Disruption falls, unable to get a lot of damage out there as Crimson and Abrasive are ready for him.
Not an ideal situation. This is what I was talking about, that 5100, that T69, able to engage on another autoloader instead of an IS-3. Now, they are paying a little bit for this. Abrasive is very damaged, and Serenity could finish him off, but the crossfire from Blue Boys and Adroxus could stop the fight.
Serenity's going to push up. Crimson Corsair is going to block him in the T69. But Serenity, ooh, fizzle. Serenity is going to focus and get the shot. Crimson's next. And Serenity falls. M-Pro and Tyler are going to focus on Crimson. But here comes Blue Boy's captain from the rear. Pushing up against M-Pro. Target fire. Tyler takes down Crimson. And Adroxus, with no damage done to his tank, focuses on M-Pro. M-Pro's almost down and he falls. Tyler's the last one alive.
Oh.
He's completely surrounded by Simp tanks. Adroxus to his rear, almost reloaded, ready for the kill shot. And he gets it. Simp leads the series 2-1 as we move on to battle number 5. Once Conflict fell, that's when it was over for Victoria's Secret.
Very slow. Just whittle them down. After you have the advantage, just bring it home. That's all Simp had to do. And it was that little mistake. It was Conflict, like you said, being out of position, and you have to give it to Maudable for moving up, and you have to give it to the T69s and IS-3 of Simp for getting into the right position to cover and cut off that 1390's retreat. There could have been a different response from Victoria's Secret. They could have, instead of having Conflict try to retreat, leave him in that position and then bring the rest of their tanks in to defend him, knowing that he's just delicious bait.
So delicious.
So delicious.
So delicious.
Yeah.
I've been fishing a long time once you said bait. Wow. It's been a while.
Just got to catch them, reel them in, free damage, free kills.
That's how it's done. Those principles apply to World of Tanks as well.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy 20, over 2,000 damage, 2,303. Right behind him, Crimson Corsair and his T69 was 8 for 10 in his shots with 1,703 damage. Taking a look at the accuracy of Heavy 20, 13 for 14. In a T69, the behavior of heat shells, well done.
I was also very surprised when you said that, because I thought a T69 would have trouble performing against tanks like IS-3s. You'd see more occasional fizzles, but I guess not.
No, not in this engagement, at least for Heavy 20. He knows where to aim in his T69. This is going to bring us to battle number 5, which will take place on Ensk. I mentioned it's a good map for Victoria's Secret, but this is a great map for Simp. One of the best strategies they had was to send 2 heavies up to the northern east side and wait for the enemy team to be in a position that would allow them to flank from the north, aim south, and win. Can they do the same thing, or will this be a tie scenario after this? Let's find out. Rookkill, what do we have for tanks?
For tanks, 3 AMX 5100s and 2 IS-3s for Simp, 2 5100s, 3 IS-3s for Victoria's Secret. Very slight differences in the lineup.
To the north, Victoria's Secret will spawn. To the south is Simp. Same type of scenario. If we see Simp send those 2 heavy tanks to the northern side, looks like they're going to head towards the lumberyard. Victoria's Secret not going through the western city blocks, hugging the railroad tracks slightly to the left with that cover and moving down the 5 line. Victoria's Secret is not going to go quietly into the night here.
That is a bold move. Simp should be prepared for this. They will spot it. It looks like Heavy 20 is lit as he crosses late, and he will spot M-Pro in response. Simp is going to line up and be prepared to stop the cap.
This cuts the map in half, east and west, but it puts more map pressure from Victoria's Secret onto Simp. But does it become a standstill? Because they're not going to cross out in the open. Simp can get the beat on him instantaneously. But look at the other positions of Conflict in M-Pro. This is where the IS-3s could really come into action here, because if they have good engagements and a couple bounces off to the front of the tanks, they could push into the district of Simp, use the cover past the flag cap until it gets destroyed. As you can see, the house is there.
Yeah, that's
but at least try to screen. Try to screen it.
That's kind of what I was thinking. They could get past the cap to the west and begin trying to snipe out the defensive positions of Simp, using one tank to spot, the other to blind fire. And Heavy 20 is actually going to take a little blind fire. Unfortunately, it bounces on him. Well, at least, fortunately for Disruption. He's not able to get a connection. Heavy 20 is going to put his nose right into the building, and he blind fires back. But You've got Victoria's Secret destroying the cover, knocking over every single building as much as they can. MacG stays alive for now. A little spotting is happening. Looks like Conflict gets lit through the trains. Very odd.
Tyler Durden took a hit a little bit earlier. So looking at Victoria's Secret again, they've moved into a map spread. They have one of the tier 8s up to the north to guard the flag cap. One of the T1s is sticking close there as well. So they only have one T1 to help out if they go for a wall flag cap, using one of the tanks to cover the T1. Victoria's Secret had a good idea here, but SIMP was not fully engaged or committed to the east, allow them to spot that. And now we go into a standstill.
Yeah, timing could have probably been better on that attack if they wanted to catch him off guard with a fast cap. However, this position can still work out. There's a lot they can still do. SIMP is very good at taking up these positions and reverse angling their IS-3s, but I don't see many situations in which they can successfully dig them out. SIMP is going to have the right response to a split push, north and west, and they're probably also going to have this proper response to blind fire and sniping. As you can see, they're already set up for the blind fire and sniping response. They can draw this out.
Oh,
That's the way Mac
shot fired towards where SIMP is. Blind fire coming out. How close is it to him?
No connections.
Well, MPro fires through the railroad tracks towards MacG, it looks like. Nothing connected here from MPro.
Really, towards Mac.
Shoot through the train. Oh, another train
he's
goes.
just destroying the trains.
Yeah.
I think when they're destroyed, you can shoot through the tops of them better.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a good hold down or anything. It's just, wow, how is Disruption spotted? That's crazy.
Oh, probably by MPro's positioning.
It's just absurd.
Or the southern positioning
No
here.
way. How do you? I'm talking about Disruption.
Yeah.
Disruption to the west.
Oh, he was spotted way back
Yeah.
there?
Somehow he got spotted all the way back there. And I'm always really confused because I guess there must be a 5100 watching. Oh, maybe Blue Boys. Blue Boys does have optics on his 5100. That's a thing he does. And he has a perfect view. He does. Oh, that is
Could be the case. Disruption might have been confused as well, going, this can't be right.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, perfect angle. Right down the HJ line.
Beautiful.
Yeah. That is clever positioning, right?
Disruption's moved from that position. 5 minutes, 35 seconds. This is Victoria's Secret's game to win. They've got to win this to go to a tiebreaker and to at least pull 2 points away from SIMP. But Droxus takes a hit from MPro. MPro pulls back. Disruption has set himself now down the Foxtrot 5.
Nice shot, by the way, into the top of a Droxus turret. It's a connection right in that thin piece of armor on the top of an IS-3 turret. It's a huge weak spot. Good connection.
Now this becomes a east versus west type of scenario we saw in Prohorovka, except that time Victoria's Secret got a flag cap. Can the same thing happen here? Some dude poised to make it happen to the south. MacG poised to stop him.
It's a very difficult situation. I don't think Victoria's Secret's going to be able to pull it
Ooh,
off.
that was close. Blind fire close to MacG.
No connection. He doesn't look even phased at all by it. No motion. He knows he needs to sit still. He's got his camo net.
That has to be coming from MPro continuously here. He's
Yeah.
firing towards that MacG position. He's going to fire again probably.
He's
once
also
he's
just
loaded.
destroying any cover he can. Oh, a shot over MacG's position by Tyler Durden.
MPro's not going to fire. He's going to fall back.
No, hold back. Interesting choice. I wonder why not.
4 minutes, 10 seconds.
Disruption's probably going to be spotted as he crosses.
Victoria's Secret has got to make a move soon.
Where's Blue Boys? Did he move out of that position? No. Same spot he spotted him last time.
And MPro fires into the trees. If this is a draw, SIMP takes it since they're up 2-1. Victoria's Secret wins this. We go to a tiebreaker. It's the only scenario that can happen for Victoria's Secret right now is a win.
It is a must win. And SIMP knows this.
Yeah, and SIMP's not going to make any errors. They're not going to rush out against Victoria's Secret. They have no reason to. They can wait, bide their time. Victoria's Secret is the ones going to have to activate. They're the ones who are going to have to execute a strategy that's going to get them the flag cap or a tank aside. Kill all the tanks on the enemy
There's
team.
the movement. That looks like it's it. I see the pinch from Disruption. I see the pinch from the north from Conflict. I guess they're going to go for it soon. At least they're gearing up for it, and spotting is happening. They're all lit. Onto the cap is Disruption. Heavy 20 is fired, and a connection. He's going to begin screening it. T1's getting onto the cap. It's a dog pile.
And the IS-3s are going to push across with that cover. Conflict takes a shot to the front, but Tyler Durden's going to meet them as well. And this is a good split. It's a stake, if you will, into the defense of SIMP. As they try to move in, the IS-3s have taken a lot of damage. Disruption falls. Abrasive gets hit from long range. M-Pro, Tyler in Conflict. Now focus on Blue Boys captain. Blue Boys is almost down. 1205 damage against him. Tyler falls back, though, with 386. All three IS-3s are reloading. 28 seconds left for the tanks on the flag cap. M-Pro around the corner trying to get a shot against Abrasive. He won't be able to get it because he's fallen back. Adroxus doesn't fall yet, but Conflict does. Tyler and M-Pro still trying to screen the cap. 17 seconds left. Some dude in Floppy Giraffe trying to stick with it. If they're not able to get it, the flag cap to the north is going to be a continuous danger for them here. 5 more seconds left.
Another shot from Abrasive. He gets it. He gets some dude, and that's going to reset the cap. SIMP has the advantage now.
But you look at the tanks. SIMP has lost 2 tier 8s. Victoria's Secret has lost 3. Tyler Durden and Serenity staying in the fight. But here comes Crimson Corsair with 2 shots on his 5100. He sees Floppy Giraffe. He will stop all pressure on the flag to the south. 43 seconds left to the north for SIMP. Heavy 20 falls to Tyler Durden.
And now
it's
Maudable.
now 2-on-2 with Maudable to the north, and Serenity's going to chase him.
Abrasive is on the way back to screen and stop that. You've got Maudable on the cap trying to get good cover. He does get solid cover from Serenity, but Serenity is now lit. Abrasive is moving into the proper position. 19 seconds left. Serenity is moving out in the open.
Serenity.
But Abrasive is not reloaded. He's not loaded yet.
Oh, he's not loaded. Serenity,
he
you've
will
got
be
to
in a
get there in
moment,
time.
though. Serenity has a very small window to make this happen.
11 seconds.
Cover.
11 seconds. He gets tracked, but he gets it. But he can get hit again. He does. Can he get behind cover in time?
Yes.
Ooh, barely. He needs Tyler Durden. And he needs not to miss shots like that. But Crimson Corsair and Tyler are going to have their own firefight. And Crimson, full HP, full drum of 6 shells. 1 shot and Tyler will fall, and he does.
And now he gets to put his attention towards Serenity in the north. Easy shot from Crimson Corsair down the line. Should be able to get the connection to the kill.
Oh, Serenity takes down Abrasive, but Crimson lands a shot, and SIMP is able to win 3-1 in a destructive match. Very nice type of play and execution coming from Victoria's Secret. It was the only decision that they could make in order to go for the win. It was very, very close, but SIMP was able to win it out.
My compliments to Victoria's Secret. That was exceptional. It doesn't matter that they just lost. Beautiful play. Absolutely great. I love the screen. They had solid positioning on the 5100 to die. T1's lined up pretty well. Have to give it to Abrasive. Abrasive clutched with his final shot in his drum. The crucial kill needed to delay the battle, and that was a kill onto, it would have been Some Dude, right? Some Dude, the kill onto Some Dude saved the battle.
Yes.
That would have been a tie, and we would have gone into the overtime. SIMP would have been looking at possibly only 1 point for the second time in the season.
Yeah, that was about an 8-second timing that they had to get that shot. He got it. Very, very close. And for Victoria's Secret to bring SIMP, again, so close to another tiebreaker, almost a tiebreaker back-to-back, our hats off to them. And if they continue to push and get better, their strategies and tactics that we've seen that has been a refresher, you could say, for a lot of these teams and for us to bring some ingenuity to some of these maps. Victoria's Secret will be a team to be reckoned with. If they can't make it to this season finals, definitely next season's finals for sure.
I completely agree. Victoria's Secret's been playing beautifully. I love that their counterplay. I love their understanding of aggression and their understanding of how to execute.